0.
First tournament, first 3 games under new head coach Casey Stony in the books. The Canadians open it up with a draw, then back-to-back wins. This one, a statement win over Chinese Taipei, 7-0. The final, the Canadians needed to win in order to hoist the Pinatar Cup, and that they did. 5th edition of the tournament, and the Canadians are the champions. As we welcome you back inside our One Soccer studio, Andy Petrillo, Jordan Wilson, Amy Walsh. You just heard Adam Jenkins say it. They have joined Scotland, who won the first edition, Belgium, Iceland, Finland, and now you can put Canada in that conversation as Pinatar Cup champions. You just called the match. What did you make of the performance?
I think they did both things. We were looking at the beginning, can they want the silverware, can they want the win, as well as do what Casey Stony intends to do, not only for this tournament, but projected over 2025 and beyond, which is develop players, see players, put them under pressure, give them the responsibility of minutes. And I think you see it looking at those stats, looking at who contributed to the goals. Players came in, bit part players, fringe players in the past, and it's wide open now for who's going to go out and grab it, for who's going to be part of Casey Stoney's best 11.
Said, give me the cup.
You kept asking for it.
The cup was given.
Multiple times you said it.
All jokes aside, of course, but you look at this tournament with Mexico, China, Chinese Taipei, Canada's the best squad. You want to see players that haven't played as many minutes get some burn and get that time. I think Casey Stony knows this team better now than she did, obviously, when she started this tournament, this window. I think that was the bigger picture. And now there are players that know what they need to give. But it's nice to win something. I know it's a small little tournament, but it's still nice to go and lift that at the end, and I'm glad that they're doing it.
Well, it's always about confidence and how the players feel in camp and with each other, so it matters. I mean, winning matters. And to your point, Casey Stony set out to do what she wanted, which is to experiment. I think we still are going to try and figure out what her style is after she gets through the experiments, but at the end of the day, she also got the wins that she needed. Here's a look at the final table. So the Canadians by 1 point over Mexico.
God.
They
down.
take it home. And so let's go on that vein, because do you feel like you have a sense, and if we're comparing the 2 national teams, which by the way both have their 2 new head coaches, because I know you had alluded to that, Amy, as well. Like Jesse Marsch, right away we just knew high press, and it was, he had to go into the fire right away, as you mentioned, taking on France, and it was like these were these big teams that they had to face right out of the gate.
Yes.
But with Casey Stony, do you kind of know where she wants to go, or do you need to see a little bit more what her style is?
I think we have the bones of what we can expect to see, both in the personnel that I think she will prefer, but also in the tactical nuances. You're seeing it with like the tandem up front, seeing it with 2 10s, which you don't always see. You might see it a little bit more with sustained possession, finding those pockets, players like Mimi Alidou, players like Olivia Smith. You're seeing that come to the fore, I think, the potential in this team, but I think it's going to be a slow burn until we really see what it's going to look like, what Casey Stony ball is. But I think it's fueled by the same types of things that a Jesse Marsch squad is. Like this Canadian side, this women's team looks really good when they're cohesive on the press, connected, working together, and winning the ball in dangerous areas.
Yeah, I'd agree. I would also say as well, haven't had a lot of time, Casey Stony, with this team to really gel. But then also some main pieces, like what does this team look like with Khadijah Buchanan in the lineup, or Jade Rose, right? And I always feel like with this team, it's just like with injuries, how it affects them so much. But they're just staples within this team that you can't ignore.
All right, well, there you go. The captain, Jessie Fleming, has just received the Pinatar Cup. Let's listen in as the Canadians are crowned champs. All smiles by the Canadians there as they have won this tournament under new head coach Casey Stony. You brought up a good point there just before they lifted the trophy. There's still a lot of experimenting for Casey Stony to do because there is no Khadijah Buchanan. There is no Chloe Lacasse as well because of injury. Still no Sydney Collins, who really started to rise to prominence in that kind of wingback role when they needed to qualify for the Olympics in that game against, the 2 games, I should say, against Jamaica. But those are players who are really good, Amy. So if anything, you're excited about what's to come for this Canadian team when those types of players return.
Because you've done it without those players. Players also, somebody who's in camp like a Jade Rose and everything that she afforded this team when Bev Priestman shifted in those critical matchups against Jamaica to even get them to Paris, what she provided in the left side of that back 3. Yeah. Quinn in the midfield, what they can do in terms of switch of play, quarterbacking from a deeper position. And you saw those players there lift the cup. It's good to have the silverware. It's good to have the win and to do it emphatically. But that's going to be a moment they can refer back to. That's going to be a touchstone thing for this team. That those players that you saw across the face of this tournament, across the 3 games, made a meaningful contribution.
Yeah, and be hard to beat, right? Still unbeaten. I think that's something to be excited about. But yeah, I think with Stony, I think we got a glimpse of her style and like what she wants to implement with this squad. But then again, we asked her, like, is there anyone that's a shoo-in? And she said no, and I almost want to call her bluff. Because I think if everyone's healthy, there's certain names you can't keep out of the lineup. So specifically when I'm looking at the back line, it's like, if Khadijah Buchanan is healthy and playing well, Vanessa Gilles is playing well.
But she's challenging them, though,
Jade,
no?
I love that.
Yeah.
But again, if they're healthy, I'm like, certain players, for me, I couldn't look at the bench and see them there.
Well, because they have the pedigree, and they have the history, and they've done it. So until you can knock them off, you're right. There are players who have earned that starting role. But if there's one thing Casey Stony has definitely, at least that I'm seeing here, a message that she has sent, is she's standing behind her experimenting and giving players a chance who were not given a chance before. One of them, of course, is Mimi Aladou. She is our Gatorade performer of the match. I mean, she gets a hat trick here. By the way, as we said, a year to the day, the last time we saw the national team get a hat trick, Adriana Leon against Paraguay, February 25th in the Gold Cup. And this is a player, again, that we were looking at going, she should get more time, and she did get it, and she's rewarding her new head coach with her performance.
It's beyond refreshing seeing it because she's flourishing, and I think people that knew Mimi and knew what she brought knew that this would come, but it's not every day that you could say an older player gets the opportunity to go out and show what they can do, and I'm glad that she held on. And she's not really wasting any time, which I like as well. She's not like, oh, let me warm up. She's hitting the ground running, Amy, and it's just beautiful to see type of finishes like this. But someone expressed how much they love football and love playing for the country.
That was it. She was a microcosm, Mimi Aladou was, of not only the changing of the guard, the Bev Priestman era, to the Casey Stony, but the joy.
Yeah.
The moments of brilliance that individuals could provide this team. And I think what they were working up against was, you think about 2024, undefeated in normal time, what they're able to do at Paris in spite of everything going on. And then in this tournament, you had the experimenting, you had the different players. Maybe it was a little bit hard for these players to get their footing, but they're still able to lift a trophy. And that is such a great thing. And moments and game breakers, players that somebody like Stony can rely upon, who can do it also, I think, if given the opportunity, do it against better opponents.
Yeah, well, and they are the highest ranked team here, right? 6th in the rankings. But to your point, if they can still try and figure out their footing and get the win, that is a huge boost to the confidence. And by the way, it's also nice when you're playing for country and you get your first goal. Volkswagen moment of the match. This one has to go to Megan Reid. Once again, you're going to hear this word quite a bit in this post-game show of experimenting. Vanessa Gilles was on the bench for this one. Megan Reid in that center back role. But it looks like she too knows how to move up that pitch there, Amy, and gets her first goal for the Maple Leaf.
Yeah.
I think Jordan nailed it in the halftime. It's like, this is what I do as a defender, and I can do it when I'm in the opposition 6. I'm just going to tackle, and it's going to go in the back of the net. So that's great to see. Again, that's a moment that will be unforgettable for somebody like Megan Reid, and like quite the ratio as well. Like third cap, first goal, keep that going.
All jokes aside as well, I always thought that center backs kind of know where the ball's going to land because you usually live in the box. So sometimes on set pieces, they're just in the right spot at the right time. Some might say it's coincidence, but I think she knew where to be.
5 goals for country. Do you remember your first?
No.
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 Like you're not even trying to think back.
Is it all?
I'm not.
No.
I think all 5 I scored with my head, save for 1 against Jamaica, which was a give and go with Charmaine Hooper.
Oh, ball.
But my first goal ever, I don't remember.
That's what online, videos exist for. We're going to look that up.
No, that's why they don't exist. Nobody wants to see an Amy Walsh with a terrible haircut finishing off a cross or just bumbling it over the line.
Keep
Nobody
tempting
wants
us.
to see that.
Keep tempting us.
Please don't Google. Don't Google.
All right, so Laracy gets her second goal for country. A lot of goal scorers in this one, obviously, with 7 goals. And this is somebody, too, who we've seen a little bit here and there in the past, and wonder kind of what you made of her performance here, Amy, and just what she can bring.
I think she looked a little bit out of sync, a little bit unsure of herself as she was subbed in, but a goal does a lot to kind of smooth that stuff over. You forget about the bad touches, you forget about the bad decisions. And I think a lot of credit on the service for that goal to a Jade Riviere, who had a very complete performance for me, both sides of the ball today, and sort of capitalizing, building on what she put into place against Mexico.
I still think, I don't know how you ladies feel about this, but the crossing is like still the bread and butter of this team, especially if you're going to play 2 up top. I just feel like there's certain players that give great service. We highlighted Olivia Smith on corners and also free kicks. But Jade Riviere, the way that she cuts in on her right and just picks out a pass, it looks easy, but to put that on a plate for Laracy is something special.
Another word that I was using a lot, especially in that halftime, was consistency, because there are certain players here you want to see them score. They do it against lesser opponents. We want to see them do it against tougher opponents. And someone who has been turning a corner a little bit has been Jordan Huitema. And here she gets 2 goals in this game as well. And this is clearly a player who maybe, her height, Amy, we always assume there's going to be a lot from the head. But she does use her feet very well.
She does. It's just the creative movements, the clever runs in the box. It's whether it's freeing up movement off the shoulder of an opponent, getting that half step for herself. Great win there. Great mazy dribble by Riviere. We didn't see her do it a lot, but saw that come out. But yeah, Huitema is able to create space for herself. And then a word, Andy, you said consistency. For me, it's can Canada, whether it's Mimi Ality, Mimi Alidou or Jordan Huitema, can they replicate the movements, the patterns of play, but also the finishing against better opponents?
I think to add to that too, I just want to see specifically with Huitema more tenacity with those movements. Like if I was to sum it up, if she's doing it 5 times for the 15 minutes, can we get that 5 to 10? Because I think with 2 up top as well, I think it favors someone like Huitema, someone else to do the work around her. But she's very good, and you highlighted that at halftime. She's very good with her movement off the ball and to get into the right spot. But then if she's doing that more, it's just how the ratio is going to work. You're going to get more opportunities to go and score.
And you see they're ending a 9-game goal drought. When you are relied upon to score goals, that can feel like an absolute eternity. She did not want that to head into double digits whatsoever. Our trusty crew in the back, I do believe it was the 2000 Algarve Cup against, well, other than Canada, who just won the last winners of the Pinatar Cup.
God, please tell me there are no images.
Finland. That's going to be next, because I need to see this. I need to see this haircut you're referring to, by the way.
You said it was a header, so you scored 4 out of 5 goals are headers?
I'm pretty sure.
Love that.
Yeah, need a fact check on that, but yeah.
2000.
Climber.
I think
Ball
that was,
winner, and that's also how I
Climber.
scored.
and I think that may have been Christine Sinclair's first tournament.
It was, yes.
See, so you're like, hey kid, watch me score a goal. Is that what you said to Sinclair?
Also wore the armband before Christine
Oh,
Sinclair.
keep it going, Walsh.
So
keep it going.
Everything changed when Christine
What
Sinclair came on board.
Keep it going.
All right, let's get to our all-state save of the match. Obviously, Lizzie-Anne Prue for Canada, not very busy at all whatsoever. So we're going to take you to the 58th minute here. Wang of Chinese Taipei making a save here off Olivia Smith, just getting her fingers on that one to send that wide. And if there's one thing you got to give Chinese Taipei credit, I mean, Jordan, you were noticing it, watching it. You're like, they're down 5-0, they're down 6-0, and they were still making plays.
Still trying to play. You love it. They never say die attitude.
No. So as you can see, 0 shots on target. I wasn't lying when I say Prue wasn't very busy in this one. They do manage 2 shots, though 19-2, though. Complete domination by the Canadian side. 70% possession. 7 goals in total. Mimi Alidou with the hat trick in this one. So the Canadians are the 2025 Pinatar Cup champions. The entire tournament has been right here on One Soccer. We'll be looking ahead. What's next for this Canadian team after this window? Stay with us here on Matchday Live on One Soccer.
Dallas Canadian Championship carrying on. Pass it in the box.
Square pass for Joshua has found the opening goal. Willow Diaz, 62nd minute, breaks the deadlock.
Cordova sends a clear run, and has opened the scoring.
It's a collector's item. And the Wanderers lead by 2 goals to 1.
The match's opening goal, Diogo Resurrecel.
Save up to 33% on select Walmart brand products. She nods in approval and places the tuna in her cart. This lady loves her tuna. She questions the ominous voice above her. Oh.
One window, one tournament down for the Canadian women. As you just take a look at their upcoming windows and tournaments, they have 5 more FIFA windows in 2025 that Casey Stony would like to take advantage of in getting to know this team and figuring out who has what it takes to be part of her starting 11 and even on her bench. You have the championship, the World Cup 2027, what everyone's working towards. Of course, the Olympic Games in 2028, followed by the CONCACAF Women's Gold Cup. So a lot of tournaments there for Casey Stony to get this team ready for the big one, of course, being the World Cup first and foremost. As we welcome you back in our studio, Andy, Jordan, and Amy with you. We did mention, though, injured players, and these are key players, right? These were not fringe players, bubble players. These were players who are oftentimes starting in the 11 for Bev Priestman. So obviously Jade Rose part of this camp, but dealing with that injury. Sydney Collins, just my goodness, just can't catch a break, right? Now getting the other leg broken. That was in preparation for the Olympics. Kadisha Buchanan, ACL, Simia Wujo. Quinn looking good to be ready April 16th. We know the Northern Super League will kick off. They're part of that. Chloe Lacasse, another one with an ACL injury. Just absolute speed on the flanks that the Canadians have been missing. And Deanne Rose as well sometimes has played in that number 9. So you look at these players who have played significant roles, which is why Casey Stony, as the year goes on, will get some of these players coming back. And it can be really exciting as she'll continue to experiment. I think we're expecting that, Amy. But at what point, and maybe it's when these injured players come back, do you think she needs to start solidifying that starting 11?
I don't know if you really have to do it before 2026, before you're projecting sort of you're a year out from a Women's World Cup, or a little bit less at that point. But a luxury of time, as she's alluded to, but also working with the depth, players that wouldn't really be getting these meaningful minutes that will get a chance to develop with Casey Stony and get minutes against hopefully really good opponents like this upcoming April window. Potentially matches at home. Who will Canada be facing, and then what type of look will we get based on the players who are then available?
Yeah, I think Stony for the next, at least 2025, she has her idea of how she wants to play. I think now it's just finding the people that embody that and are going to go out and do the things that she requires them to do. You already saw it in this little window, like tweaking certain things for certain games, right? Like she had 1-6 before, she had 2 6s today, just figuring out, okay, this is what I need to do to balance things and to counteract the opposition. But I think now that she has that formation, it's just getting players to be like, look, this is what it's like to play Stoney's way, their type of football. So that's the first step, but then players buying in. I also feel like it's up to players. I don't necessarily be like, oh, it's the manager to get the most out of you. She's shown how she likes to play football. Now you have to go buy in and show what you can do.
And players where they're making big moves. Adriana Leon leaving kind of a tenuous situation at her club, like been on a run lately with different clubs in the WSL. I think she's really well suited. I think middling results when she was on loan at the Portland Thorns. I think she's really well suited for success in the NWSL. So in the interim, in between these windows, can these players find their footing, find their form, get off flying when they're with their clubs and bring that back to country, and then seeing how then the level moves up progressively as we get closer to the World Cup.
That's a great point, because anytime Adriana Leon is playing, and you mention this all the time, Trills, she's playing for clubs, she comes for a country with a different type of confidence, and then the goals just come. So it's like you need to be doing work for your club, but then knowing that you're going to bring that play straight to your country and hit the ground running.
Making that move from Aston Villa to San Diego. And by the way, she is nasty in the box. We need more of those forwards who are just nasty. Get out
That's
of my
how you
way.
like playing the game.
I do.
A little bit of elbow,
there
a little bit of...
no time for being nice on the field for me. Those are not the types of players I would choose. We couldn't go back to 2000, but we did find something.
Oh, go on.
From 2003.
Go on. Yeah, come back here.
You weren't.
Go on. What year is
that?
this?
Please explain. Did you lose a bet? What happened? Because
yes,
it's a little choppy
for it.
By the way,
look how happy I am.
You have a cute
so
face
pure.
for short hair. I'm just wondering though, was that done at home? Like
it was not. I paid money for it, Chillo.
Look at her. She's like,
you guys.
Burn.
No, wait. Let's move over a little bit. Over. Stop.
You got
Stop.
it. You can't block it. Don't block it. Don't block it. Look at it.
Oh my
There's
God.
like a little alfalfa happening in the back.
That's not nice.
Alpha. My God, it's like bunny ears without actual bunny ears.
And it's so cute. It is very
bless her.
cute.
Oh.
Look at you. Happy
Precious.
then, happy now, and why wouldn't we be happy? The Canadians with the big 7-0 win over Chinese Taipei, Pinatar Cup champions as well. You've been watching the entire tournament right here on One Soccer. We've had a great crew throughout the 3 games here today. That's Amy Walsh, Jordan Wilson. On behalf of everyone here at One Soccer, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Save up to 33% on select Walmart brand products. She nods in approval and places the tuna in her cart. What a sweet